Addition. This is the tens and ones adding ones using base 10 method. I'm going to show you the concrete stage of this method. Firstly, if you don't have any, you can cut up squared paper to make your own tens and ones. Here, the number sentence is 41 add 8 equals. So because 8 and 1 do not make more than 10, there's no need to exchange anything. It's really important not to jump straight to the abstract model of this method, which most adults will know very well. Using the equipment helps the children to learn the value of the digits in the columns. Look at the calculation symbol. Remember to use its many different names, not just the same one. So a real life story for this could be 41 swimmers were paddling in the sea and 8 more joined them. There are, swimmers altogether. To start, you need to draw your tens and ones column. Then, make the first number with tens and ones, putting them in their correct columns. I've got 4 tens and 1 1. Then, make your second number and pop them underneath. So, it's just 8, and I put my 8 ones underneath the 1 in my ones column. Double check you have the numbers you were meant to start with, 41 and 8. Always starting with the ones column, add both groups of ones together and slide them down into your answer row. So 8, add 1, and that makes 9. I'm going to write that underneath to help me. Then add your tens. I'm not adding anything to my tens, so my 4 tens stay the same, and I'm going to write that in my tens column as well. 41 add 8 equals 49. 41 swimmers were paddling in the sea and 8 more joined them. There are 49 swimmers altogether. Moving on to the pictorial method for using base 10 to solve tens and ones adding ones starts exactly the same. You draw your tens and ones column, but instead of using your tens and ones equipment, we're just going to draw them. To draw tens, we just draw short lines that look like 10 sticks and dots for the ones. We don't waste time drawing little squares and rectangles. The story is the same about the swimmers. So instead of using the base 10 equipment, I simply draw them out in their correct columns and start to add the ones by counting them all together and drawing the total in the answer row before writing the digit. 4 tens and 1 1 for my first number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for my second number. I'm going to add all of those together and draw them in my answer row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 1, making 9, which I'm going to write to help me remember. I'm not adding anything to my tens, so I'm going to draw them down in my answer row. 1, 2, 3, 4, making 4 tens, meaning 40, and the answer is 49. The abstract stage of this method will be the one that we are most familiar with, but children will struggle to understand the value of the digits in their problem solving if they skip the concrete and pictorial stages. The most important thing to remember with this method is to make sure your numbers are in the correct column at all times. That's why I often write T for tens and O for ones. This is another reason for starting off with the tens and ones equipment. They clearly look different, so deserve their own column. Before I begin, look at the part-whole model, which shows how the number 41 is partitioned to remind children that the digit represents 4 tens, meaning 40, and 1 1, meaning 1. As always, I'm going to start by writing my numbers from my number sentence in my column method. I'm going to use a giant equals sign, which reminds me of the equal sign in my number sentence. I'm then going to start by adding the ones. 1 add 8, and I can do that in my head, make 9. 4 add 0, making 4 tens. So the answer is 49.